Hello out there in internet land. This is the P&J F1 chat. I'm your host, Phil Lamington, and beside me is my co-host, the man who's never rain delayed, JB. JB, how are you, my friend?
I'm good. I'm bone dry. Bone freaking dry. How are you, man?
Yeah, a little bit tired because unlike you, I stayed up until nearly 1 o'clock this morning to watch rainfall on my TV.
I once went to the Gabba. The only time I've ever been to the Gabba for World Cup cricket, and I sat there for 3 hours watching rainfall and drinking alcohol, but mostly watching rainfall. So
Was it Pisswasser?
Pisswasser. Fuck the Dutch. No, so, sitting up till, I gave it till midnight, but sometimes you just know, it's not your night. It's not your night, and cut my losses at about midnight, and it ultimately proved to be the right decision.
Yeah, well, it took me another hour to finally make the same decision.
You're stubborn.
Yeah, well, I wanted to see if they would rebuild Perez's car.
Yeah, that was
they
about...
did.
It was just like the only entertaining thing during the break was Red Bull playing giant jigsaw with Perez's broken car.
Yeah. Oh, and the other amusing thing about it was no one knew the rules. No one knew the rules.
Not even Michael Massey knew the rules. They went to Michael Massey and they asked him, then Michael Massey was like, I don't know. I'll get back to you. The race director's like, I have no idea what's happening right now.
And who did he ask for advice? He went and asked Chris Kamara.
I thought, no, Jeff.
I don't know, Jeff. I saw him go off, but I thought they were bringing on a sub. I don't know. So I thought we'd start a little bit differently and talk about something slightly exciting, which was
not the race.
How the grid lined up at the end of qualifying.
That was the most bizarro thing of the weekend, I guess. Just a bizarro land of a weekend.
Because, well, there's no easy way to say it. Besides two cars on the grid, they all finished in this order.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only differences were because Norris had that massive stack in Q3.
Mm-hmm.
He had to change his gearbox, so he got a 5-place grid penalty. And Perez, he decided to beach his car on the formation lap of the race in Lacombe. And so Red Bull had to rebuild his car. And so he had to start from dead last.
Yeah.
So that promoted Ocon up to 7th. Charles Leclerc up to 8th. Nicholas Latifi up to 9th. And Carlos Sainz up to 10th.
Yes. Double points finish for Ferrari.
Yeah, except it was half points.
Wow, double half points. Half. I don't know where I'm going with that. Half double points.
Well, Carlos Sainz got half a point.
It's better than nothing.
Yeah, well.
It's still more than anyone from 10th to 20th scored, or 11th to 20th.
So, the results of the race, inside inverted commas, Max Verstappen won the race, with George Russell getting his first podium in Formula One, coming second, and Lewis Hamilton coming third. Daniel Ricciardo got fourth. Sebastian Vettel got fifth. Gasly got sixth. Ocon got 7th, Charles Leclerc got 8th, Nicholas Latifi got 9th, and Carlos Sainz got 10th.
Yes, so time to explain what actually happened here. We made history. This was the shortest Grand Prix ever.
2 laps behind the safety car.
2 laps behind the safety car.
But here's the thing, though. I've got to interrupt you here because they also did a lap earlier, a formation lap behind the safety car. That didn't count.
Yeah, the clock hadn't started.
The clock hadn't started. And everyone except for Max Verstappen sitting there going, I can go racing. this is great. I don't mind. Everyone else is going, we can't see shit.
Yeah, Max Verstappen with the only guy in front of him was Burt Mylander. So
I think he should have won the race.
Burt Mylander technically won the race and also got driver of the day in his Mercedes AMG GT safety car.
Driving for team safety car.
He did the most laps, I'm pretty sure, and
Yep.
was probably the second fastest car out there besides Nikita Mazepin, it turned out.
on a track that it's the fastest time was what, a 1 minute 42
In qualifying.
in qualifying
on a dry
track.
Yes.
And he set the fastest time of a 3 minute 18.
Champion
That
effort.
is blistering pace from the Uralkali Haas.
Well,
That's just
simply blister. That's about, par for the course for them, isn't it? A 3 minute lap.
he can drive
Thing
as
is,
well in the wet as he can in the dry.
Nikita Mazepin isn't actually driving any faster or slower. It's like the limit of the Uralkali.
It's as much as his old man will let him drive it.
That's it. Hey, he didn't beat it.
Yeah, well, he did better than Perez.
He was only doing 20 k's an hour, but he didn't beat it, and Perez did. So
Yeah, true. But yeah, they did 2 proper laps and then declared it a race, but everyone got half points.
I thought you had to go over half race distance for points to be
I
awarded.
thought it was 75%.
I think it's 75% for full points.
Ah, rightio.
Pretty sure half points, but they only did 2. I don't know how that works.
But really, besides, we've just told you the results. We just told you the results.
Qualifying. Look at the qualifying results, and that was the race results
Yeah.
because no one raced. They were
Yeah.
behind the safety car for 2 laps. The only difference, as we pointed out, was Perez and Norris.
Yeah.
But to that, I think, it was torrential. And after what happened to Lando Norris in qualifying, Michael Massey got dragged over the coals by people on social media and by Sebastian Vettel
Yeah.
when he pulled up to check on Norris.
Yeah.
That scared the shit out. I'll be honest, that scared the crap out of me because Martin Brundle, you're watching him come down the hill towards Eau Rouge and Radion. And Martin Brundle's like, did that go around? And you just see the car just doesn't come out the other side of the trees.
Yeah.
And your heart skips a beat, and then you see him go in, and you get the Antoine Hubert flashbacks, you get Spa 98 flashback,
Yeah.
you get all these horrible sort of memories. And I think, besides the fact that it was literally a swimming pool, I think Michael Massey's hesitancy to not send them racing was probably justified.
Yeah. Well, seeing that we've covered the race,
The race.
we've covered the race. Let's get to the pit lane questions.
Yeah.
We'll get to the fun part. And it's going to start, it's not actually going to start with a question. It's actually going to start with a rant. I'm going to have a rant. Apologize to everyone involved for the rant. Earlier today, I had a look on, oddly enough, Fox Motorsports Facebook page about this race. And also it was on Trollmuller 1 because I believe you clicked like on Trollmuller 1's.
I clicked
post.
like on Troy. I also whacked a comment under news.com's article as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love how the Australian fans that, your typical, this is where the ranty part kicks in, your typical bogan piece of shit that sits there and goes, oh, my fucking favourite drivers are, Scotty McLaughlin and who's that other guy that can't win Bathurst?
Jamie Whincup.
Jamie Whincup. And they make comments like, oh, it was only a little bit of rain. These are supposed to be the best drivers in the world and they can't even drive it. I'm sorry, but I remember, I think it was either 1992 or 1993 Bathurst where they had rain just as heavy as that. And the leader of the race was Mark Scaife and who's the other guy?
That would have been Jimmy Richards, right? In
Yep,
the Skyline?
Jim Richard. Yep.
Yeah.
The Skyline crashed out. Dick Johnson should have won, but they did a count back.
Yeah.
and Jim Richards and Mark Skaife won.
Yeah, you're
And
all a pack of assholes.
Yeah, because
That one.
he had dedicated the race to former Formula One world champion Denny Hulme, who'd just passed away.
Yeah.
But the crowd was booing because they felt that Dick Johnson should have won. Now, to these V8 supercar wankers that make these comments,
Fans. It's the fans. It's the people that would take their Commodores out to the Woolworths car park in the same sort of conditions and then try and drag race a police car and shit. You know,
think that they're the Stig or Jeremy Clarkson going, power.
that's it.
It was the same conditions, and they crashed out and they had to stop the race at Bathurst all those years ago. And this was the same conditions in cars that weighed half as much,
And twice as fast.
twice as fast.
The only argument you have to make is go back and watch Lando's crash in qualifying.
Yeah.
Watch it.
Or, here we go. There was another crash that had very similar weather conditions. Japan 2014.
Yeah, the crash that killed Jules
Jules
Bianchi.
Bianchi.
Yeah.
You know,
We've seen enough of these
yeah.
accidents. Like, don't come at me with they're the best drivers in the world shit.
Yeah.
These are 1,000 horsepower cars that weigh 800 kilos
Yeah.
that they're the fastest race cars on the planet.
And, I mean, look at Lando Norris's crash. He was going through Eau Rouge and Radion, which is one of the most dangerous corners in Formula One.
If that happens on lap one and he bounces into the middle of the track with 18 cars coming over the hill,
he's dead.
he's probably dead.
Yeah, Antoine Hubert all
Antoine
over again.
Hubert, that Formula W crash, did you see that?
Yes.
In qualifying where 6 of them went off at Eau Rouge?
Yeah.
The argument was already made.
Yeah, but then you look at the comments of that, and it's a whole bunch of sexist, misogynist
they're women,
pigs.
they can't drive.
It's like, you couldn't do it yourself, you stupid planker.
The
So
guy-
just shut up.
You know, driving his fucking rust bucket down the servo, you know.
Yeah, I can drive my Land Cruiser Prado through that, no problem.
I could take up 3 car parks in a Woolies shopping centre, no problem.
Yeah, I can't navigate driving over a fucking driveway, though, to get into the gasworks complex in my Prado, because I've got to take it as slow as possible.
This is...
Fucking Jesus, Prado drivers, the scum of the earth.
Oof.
Well-
Oof, this is getting...
Oh,
Ooh,
look, you know,
it's getting hot in here.
the aircon's on too. I forgot to turn it off before we started. But that's my point. That's what I'm angry about, is that, like, they stopped the race, which then actually leads to my question. So, a lot of people saying they should have raced.
I came out and said they should have pushed it back a day.
Well, the reason why they couldn't push it back a day is because all the marshals that work at the track have day jobs.
Oh, yeah, it's a Sunday. They would have had to come to work on a Monday.
But I think they could have come up with something if they were fast enough. In the UK, the Monday was a public holiday. So why couldn't they have, the FIA, I mean, paid for the marshals from the UK, from Silverstone or whatever?
Yeah, they got the British Drivers Club?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think I know what you're about to ask, but it might have something to do with COVID restrictions.
Yeah, but if you just hear me out here.
Yeah.
So obviously you're not going to be able to have fans at the track because it's a work day. So unless they're skipping work or they've got the week off or they're unemployed, they can't be at the track. And then utilising the COVID restrictions, get the marshals in to be the marshals for this race and have the race go ahead on the Monday. But it's a logistical nightmare that has to be
Yes.
done overnight.
You've got to, find 20 volunteers, 30 volunteers, 40 volunteers that are free.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a long weekend. They're probably hammered.
Yeah.
You don't want drunk marshals,
Well,
look-
Liverpool was probably playing.
I feel attacked.
Well,
they
Tottenham.
were. And they were.
And Tottenham.
They drew with Chelsea.
Oh.
Dogs. Yeah, I mean, logistically it was a nightmare. They could have pushed it back because, as Martin Brundle said, Zandvoort's only like 20 kilometres away. It's like 3 countries away from Belgium. So it's like, 5-minute drive.
Yeah, because they've got Zandvoort next weekend.
Yeah.
Then they've got Monza. But then they've got that open gap where Australia was supposed to be.
They haven't announced what they...
No.
Qatar. The MotoGP track in Losail. Apparently.
Yeah. But, I mean, you could come up with a million different solutions. But I think the one that most morons online have clearly forgotten is that while they're sitting there going, we wanted a race, we don't want another Jules Bianchi. We don't want another Antoine Hubert.
Yeah, we don't want to see it. We saw it on Saturday. We saw Lando crash, and then,
he got out of the car. He
got
was
out of the
okay.
car, he was fine, but
what if another car plows into him?
what if Sebastian Vettel was closer than he was?
That's
and doesn't
right.
see him coming over the hill.
My only complaint about Michael Massey is I think he should have pulled the trigger sooner. I think he should have pulled the trigger sooner and just called off the entire thing.
He gave it everything. Like he had the allotted time though. He had 4 hours.
Yeah. And
you have 4 hours to do a 2-hour race.
the thing is, he was damned if he did, damned if he didn't.
Because did Lewis take a shot at him?
Well, it's funny you should mention that because Fox Motorsports put up a story saying that Lewis Hamilton described Sunday's rain-lashed Belgian Grand Prix as a farce and said money talks.
Oh, cool. So we'll send Lewis out for a couple laps then and see how he goes.
All I'm going to say about this to Sir Lewis is if you were in first place, you wouldn't have been complaining.
Yeah, well, Max wasn't.
No. George Russell's not.
The only reason he's a little salty about it is because I think that cost him the championship lead, didn't it?
No.
Oh, he still got it, does he?
He's still got about 3 points.
Oof. Yeah, right.
Well, that's why he's salty, because he didn't win the race. And it's the same as like Monaco this year. It was, Monaco, it's such a great track, such a great track, such a great track. And then it all goes wrong for him, and it's like, it's a horrible track, it's boring, we should get rid of it.
It's outdated, yeah. That's bold coming from Lewis. Like, these cars are the safest they've ever been, but he should know. He's been around long enough. He's been in plenty of wet races. I mean, he won the championship in Brazil 2008 in the rain.
Yeah.
We've seen massive crashes in the rain. Jules Bianchi. I'm actually a little puzzled as to why he would think that they would be sent out there. Like, what was... If that's what he said, what was his solution? What does he want? Does he want a Monday race? Like, surely it's not to restart the race in those conditions. That's atrocious. It's dangerous, and it's,
He thinks the entire race should have been cancelled. But he's like, because of sponsors and, money talks, that's why we had what happened.
Does it make a difference? Did it make a difference? Did it really make a difference?
The only reason why Hamilton is complaining about it is because going into this race, he had 5 fingers on that World Drivers' Championship trophy. Now he's only got 2 fingers on that trophy. And he's worried that it's going to go from 2 fingers to no fingers, and it's going to be all in Max Verstappen's hands.
I wouldn't say he had 5 fingers on the trophy. I think he had 2.5, maybe.
In his mind, he had 5 fingers on the trophy.
Not a chance. Yeah, all right. But what difference did it make? Like, there has been no wear to the power unit. You only ran 2 laps.
Yeah.
So you haven't damaged your car. You don't have to replace any parts. You've done no wear to your power unit. I don't think... Well, what was the championship lead coming into this race? It was like 11 points, 13 points?
I think it was 11 points.
And now it's like 3.
Yeah.
But he's still got the championship. He hasn't even lost the championship lead.
No.
Like, that's a bit of a loser mentality.
Yeah.
Like, and it's not going to matter because you're in Zandvoort in 3 days.
Yeah.
And you're back at it. So just put it out of your mind.
Well, he's going into Max Verstappen country.
Yeah, he's going into
Yeah, he's going in as
enemy
the
territory.
enemy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're going to let him know they don't like him.
Yeah, more than they already do.
You know,
Oh, man.
it's just ridiculous. But then you get all the Lewis Hamilton fanboys who sit there and say, "Oh no, he's justified what he's saying." No, he isn't. Sorry, no, he isn't.
Michael Massey did what? You know, he, at least there's a result. I mean,
Yeah.
would you feel more empty if he had stayed up all night and not raced? Or been there all day and not raced rather than at least getting a result, just getting it out of the way?
I feel sorry for all the fans that bought a ticket.
They could have just awarded the points in the pit lane. They could have
Yeah.
just sat everyone there and just awarded the points in the pit lane, but obviously there's a procedure to it.
Yeah.
I feel sorry for all the people that bought a ticket too. There's some hardy dudes up in Belgium.
Oh yeah.
Respect to those guys up on the hill. Did you see them?
Yeah. You
on
see
the hill down
the
Camel Straight?
see the guy eating like chips in mayonnaise.
Yeah.
Why are you putting mayonnaise on chips?
Crofty's giving him a serve. Not as funny as Saturday's qualifying where they were filming Old Mate on the go-kart track in the infield. Global television audience just happens to be watching this guy because there's nothing else on, and he beaches it in front of everyone. And he's going to see that on YouTube, and it's like, mate, you're famous. The comments is like, oh, that was his one chance to qualify for a driver's academy.
He's
and
Bottas's replacement at Mercedes.
he's beached it on international worldwide feed. Poor guy.
He's the new driver at Haas.
Yeah. Uricali wants to talk.
Toto wants to sign him up to the driver academy.
Yeah. So weird weekend of racing, but there were still some weird, funny moments too.
Which then brings me to my next question, or it's something we have spoken about before, but it reared its ugly little head yet again. So Perez crashed his car, but it was still deemed to not be a race, so they rebuilt his car, but he had to start from the back of the grid.
I'm not against this one. Only because there was a 4-hour window for him to... initially, and they said no. Remember, they said no twice. Because initially it was that 20-minute window and that 10-minute window, and Michael Massey kept saying no. But when he realised they weren't going to go racing for about an hour, and there's no guarantee they were going to fix that car,
Yeah.
he said, all right, give it a shot.
And
And he had to
because-
start from last anyway, so...
And they clearly stated, like, well, you haven't started the countdown clock.
And I
Yeah.
think that's the only reason he got away with it.
Yeah.
Because the race wasn't imminently starting.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know we've had a gripe about it should be
Parc
park
Ferme.
ferme conditions under red flag, but I sort of...
I suppose, well, in
There
this
was
thing,
nothing to lose with this one.
well, it's kind of like with last year at Hungary when Verstappen beached his car into the wall,
Mm.
and they had 20 minutes to repair it, and they got the job done, and he went on to what comes second in the race or
Yeah,
something.
I think so.
But the race hadn't started, so they can fix it. So I think in this instance, the rules were clear. Like the race hadn't started.
The race hadn't started. The problem with the last red flags where we've bitched about Parc Ferme is the race had started, which is probably where you draw the line.
Yeah,
I mean, and the thing that pisses me off about that rule is changing tyres more than anything.
yeah, that's right.
Like fixing damage too, I guess, you know. But changing tyres, like if your mediums are 30 laps old when the red flag comes out, tough titties.
Well, it's like Martin
You can't
Brundle.
go and you can't go bolt another set of like fresh hard tyres on and
No,
go to the end. It doesn't make sense to me.
it's like Martin Brundle was saying that the late great Charlie Whiting, a few times there, the drivers wanted a safety car start because it was so wet in previous races. And he turned around and said, okay, if you want that, you've got to put full wets on. Not intermediates, not slicks or whatever. It's got every car has to have full
Yeah,
wets
if
on.
you think it's extremely wet, then show me you think it's extremely wet.
But here's a question. I didn't actually write it down in my book, but I've just remembered it because I've thought about it all day at work today. Do you think the Pirelli wet tyres do a good enough job?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I
Yeah. No, they do.
I don't think they do.
I think they do.
I don't think they get enough water out of the way.
Well,
I think they're not much better than the intermediates.
They do the job. Like, they do enough. I mean, every time we've seen them, I mean, it's torrential rain to put a set of wets on for wets.
Yeah.
Like, it's torrential rain. It's the rain that you slow down to 80 kilometers an hour on the highway, sort of torrential rain.
You slow down on the highway?
Well, sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah, I think they do as good a job as anything else. I mean, these cars are heavy too, so they're going to slide naturally anyway.
Yeah.
They're like 800 kilos. I mean, they're a little bit heavier than previous era cars, but yeah, I don't think I've had a problem with them.
I just think the old Michelins and the Bridgestone tyres did a far better job of dispersing the water. I mean, you never got as much spray as what we had yesterday in similar style. Rainfall.
They didn't have an intermediate tyre though back then, did they? Wasn't it just a dry and a wet? Like, there wasn't an in-between tyre, was there?
I think at one point they did.
I think Bridgestone, the Potenza, they might have brought in an intermediate when they became the sole supplier.
That's right.
But I'm pretty sure Michelin and Bridgestone, when the tyre war was there,
it was just
it
dry
was
and wet.
only dry or only wet. There was no in the middle.
Yeah.
So I think that's the problem too. Like,
Yeah.
they figure if you're going to put wets on, well, it's fucking pretty wet.
Yeah.
I think the Pirellis are fine, to be honest. I think they're good. I mean, Lando's crash was because he overcorrected.
Yeah, because the back end skipped out.
Yeah, the back end stepped, and then he tried to overcorrect it, and then it gripped again, and he spun. I mean, that's, and
Did it overcorrect, or did he correct it, but by correcting it, he just went straight into the wall?
I think the tyres...
That's what Martin Brundle was saying.
Yeah, I think Brundle said, like, the tyre regripped or something, but, I mean, the only times we've seen proper full wets, I mean, did we see them in Hungary?
No.
I think we might have only seen the Inters in Hungary.
Yeah, it was Inters.
And besides that, I can think of Istanbul last year. That place was an ice rink, though.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's probably the last. And Imola, but I think that was
Inters.
Inters as well. So, no, the only times we've seen the proper wets this year, I think they've done the job, the business. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gosh, I've run out of topics to talk about.
Yeah, it's
we've been asked to give our thoughts on the new Formula One game. The problem is that
you haven't played it, have you?
to the person who's asked us to talk about it, I'm still waiting for you to help us finish the old championship.
No. This was Benny.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, this wasn't from Barry. This was from Benny.
Oh, I thought it was from Barry. Sorry,
Benny,
Barry.
the new game's good. I dig it. It's realistic and hard, and the braking system's great. And yeah, I love it.
But we still got to finish our championship.
Barry Enchilada, if you're listening, I was going to sell my copy of F1 2020, but didn't, at your behest that we were going to finish the championship. So when you listen to this on your next night shift,
if you listen to
I'll
this,
see you in Suzuka.
And me.
And him. What else? Because you know what? Last episode we said we'd take questions from fans.
Yeah?
So, new 2021 game. The economics of Formula One. I'm not getting into
There
that.
we go.
Benny.
Actually, that is a good top. Not so much that, but the topic of should a team, if they cause a crash,
Yes.
should they pay for the other team's car to be repaired out of their budget?
I think if you can definitively prove that they were at fault, yes.
I think it should be an FIA mandate. So if Michael Massey says a crash between Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton, and they deem that Hamilton is at fault, Mercedes should pay for the repairs to Max's car.
Yeah, 'Cause-
but that's when Michael Massey and the stewards say that Hamilton's at fault.
Yeah, it's got to go. It'll have to go through the court of arbitration, I guess, the council.
Yeah.
But I think, yeah, I could see it happening.
I think that's fair.
If you lodge it to the FIA and the Formula One Council, and you can make an argument for it and give the other team a chance to make an argument against it, and they can deem it in your favour that they should have to foot the bill because it was your fault that their car is now taking a chunk out of their $145 million cap. Yeah, why not? I mean, the only thing that worries me about that is we're going to have less aggressive racing because you don't want to be the guy wrecking your car and their car. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, how much time to develop your car next year depends on how high you finish in the championship as well. So it's, if you don't go for it, you're going to get less time to develop your car. No, you get more time to develop your car. I've got that all arse backwards. Apologies to everyone. So if the lower you finish in the rankings, the more time you get to work on your car.
Yeah, but you're not gonna. I mean, that's not grounds for tanking and crashing into people, though, is it?
Oh, unless you're in a Haas, but
Yeah. Or you're Daniel Kvyat.
Yeah, true. But I think
I think there's a potential that could be a rule.
Yeah.
But I could argue that it would take away a lot of the aggression, just for fear of.
you know what?
Fear of having to pay for two cars instead of one. Like,
Some drivers, like say Vettel or Ricardo or Alonso, they might back off, but I don't see Max Verstappen sitting there going, well, I can either challenge for the position, get a win, and help me win a championship, or I can back off and possibly save some dollary dues.
there's definitely the aggressors of the field, isn't there?
Yeah, him,
Max and Lando.
Norris,
And,
Russell,
yeah,
Sainz and Leclerc,
yeah. Someone's good for a dive bomb.
Gasly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tsunoda's aggressive, but he's aggressive with the wall.
Nah, he's just got to refine his skill a bit, settle down.
He needs to calm the fuck down.
He does. He really does.
But I think that's fair. Like, if you're deemed to be at fault by the FIA, you should be responsible for paying for the other team's car.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not against it. This isn't to say it's ever going to come to fruition, though. We'll see.
I think there was a precedent for it, though.
I think if there's a precedent, yeah, I think Silverstone was a precedent for it. Hungary was a precedent for it.
Yeah.
I think the argument could be made for those two.
Hungary will send Mercedes' budget through the roof.
Yeah, Mercedes have $2.50 left to spend on their car because Valtteri Bottas owes about 6 car repairs. I wonder if you could do it
Lance Stroll owes about 3.
I wonder if you could do it like an insurance, like how car insurance works. Like you just have to put, you have to
Allianz Insurance.
Yeah, you have to, like Allianz Insurance. You just got to put like a deposit in the insurance thing, and then they like help you pay it off in installments or whatever. So you don't have to fork it all out once. You've like got to get on the phone at the end of the race and ring Allianz. Allianz Insurance, yeah. Valtteri broke my front wing and just got to make a claim.
No, I'm laughing hysterically because I'm just sitting there thinking, Valtteri Bottas crashes into someone, they call up the RACQ.
Do you want us to send the tow truck? Is there a call-out fee for this battery change? It's a Sunday. Is there a surcharge?
Call Amy Insurance. They send one of those pretty girls out.
Pretty girls in the short skirt. What do you mean? What do you mean you've crashed 8 races in a row? I don't know.
What's
man.
your name again? Pastor Maldonado.
Ah, I see.
Sorry, mate. We can't come out and help you, mate, because you are what's known as a habitual crasher.
You've exceeded your excess by a lot.
You've got to pay us to insure us.
That's it. It's a danger to come and get you. You maniac.
So what other questions do we have?
Well, thank you to Benny Nutshell for sending this across. I'll give you a shout out. I'll post you the link of the episode. Locations you would like to see Formula One races. Antarctica.
Antarctica. Jesus. It'll just be Spa all over again.
It'll literally just be Spa. Lots of spinning.
Oh.
We both said Kyalami.
Kyalami,
We
yeah.
said Kyalami in the filler episode.
Yeah, Kyalami in South Africa.
I think South Africa's well overdue for an event.
Yeah. Oh, God. Have you got any other ideas?
Bathurst. I don't think he could do it. They'd bottom out over the dipper. Not really. I mean, maybe what's other old tracks they could bring back? I mean, I'd say Fuji, but torrential rains already destroyed Hungary and Spa, or just Spa.
I mean, if we could bring back...
I think that, and the blessing in disguise about this pandemic is all the tracks we used to visit sort of came back.
Yeah, like Imola.
We got Imola back. We got Istanbul back. We got Portimao, the new Portimao track out of it. So, a lot of my old favourites have actually already come back on the calendar.
See, the thing is, I'm sitting here going over all the old tracks, like remembering like the old Formula One games.
You can't bring back old Hockenheim. It's a forest now.
Take away my fun.
You can't bring back old Spa either. The one that goes out through
with
the
the
town.
bus stop.
No, old Spa, the one from the 70s.
I don't want that Spa.
Just race them through the streets.
I want the bus stop chicane back.
Yeah, because it extends that front straight. Actually, I probably wouldn't be against that idea.
Yeah, it takes away that silly, fuddy-duddy, stupid chicane they've got now.
Yeah.
Adelaide.
Yeah, but considering the fact Adelaide didn't even renew its V8 Supercars license, probably.
That's because no one goes to Adelaide.
It's because no one likes Adelaide.
Yeah, it's true.
Yuck.
Argentina.
Argentina had a Grand Prix there. Hey?
Yeah. Up until like the mid-90s, I think it was.
I wouldn't mind them trying to bring, I think I said this in a previous episode as well, I wouldn't mind them trying to bring the Malaysia track back
Sepang.
instead of trying to go to Vietnam. Because I don't like the Vietnam track.
Vietnam's gone.
Is it totally gone?
Yeah, it's totally gone.
Good.
Sepang
would be nice. I mean, they pull a bigger crowd from MotoGP, but Valentino Rossi is retiring this year, so...
That's true.
Those grandstands of yellow will disappear.
And it got voted the track that most people wanted back anyway on someone's website. I can't remember whose.
Yeah, it's a good track.
Road America.
Yeah. Or maybe not Laguna Seca.
No, because it's got the corkscrew. You might as well just drive around Bathurst.
That's it. Indianapolis. Nah, fuck that.
No.
Not even the road course.
Yeah.
Watkins Glen?
Brands Hatch.
Nah, Brands Hatch is too short.
Donington.
Not a fan of Donington.
Yeah, but I mean, remember Senna did that lap of the God?
Yeah, he did. It was
at
awesome.
Donington?
Yeah, but these cars would make it look fucking easy. These cars would do that lap in like 30 seconds.
True.
That's the problem. Like Brands, you couldn't do Brands Hatch in these cars.
Yeah, it's
That'd
true.
That'd be like a secure lap.
Yeah.
That'd be like 20 seconds.
Eh.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, good question.
So, Kyalami.
Yeah, Kyalami, Sepang.
Yeah.
And...
What about the Indian track?
I didn't mind the Indian track, but there's a big hump in the middle of it now.
True.
They've just left it there, and it's India's a bit.
Or Magna Core.
Yeah, would you bring back Magny Core and get rid of Paul Ricard? Or would you have both?
Have both.
Yeah. I mean, the only problem is it's already a 23 race calendar.
That's all right. The only person who complained is Lewis Hamilton, and he complains about everything anyway.
Yeah.
Or or what? Puka Cowie.
Good old Pukekohe.
Well, New Zealand doesn't have a race.
They're big. Like, I mean, considering it was the birthplace of Bruce McLaren,
Yeah,
maybe Auckland needs a street race. That'd be cool, actually.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. It'd be fully sick, eh, bro?
Oh, shut, bro. They're like
Oh.
massive. They're like massive motorsport fans over there. They love it.
And they can get beach does.
I'll get beach does go down to Auckland and watch the fucking Formula One. Yeah, why not? Because Bruce McLaren was born in New Zealand.
That's right.
Um.
And put one in Alaska.
Just for shits and giggles. Put one in Kabul Airport. We'll call it Death Race.
Zimbabwe.
Oof. And I guess I've got one more question, and we're running short of straws, unfortunately, because this race did not help us.
Yeah, that's right.
The best races you've seen in similar conditions to last night, i.e., Fuji 1976.
Spa 1998.
Yeah, but that nearly killed a bunch of people.
Yeah, but they all had the T car.
They all, yeah. They all had the T car.
And then, like, Schumacher was winning by a country mile, and David Coulthard decided he'd be dumb and got in his way. And then it led to that infamous scene of Schumacher after he'd crashed out, rather briskly walking into the McLaren garage to want to fight David Coulthard. Jean Todt told Ron Dennis, get Coulthard out of the way. And Ron Dennis just more or less went, yeah, whatever, mate.
Yeah. McLaren and Ferrari don't see eye to eye.
And that was Damon Hill's last win in F1.
Yeah, so
In
1998.
a Jordan.
We had that big crash at the start line.
Yeah, it was like £8 million worth of damage.
Yeah. You know, considering that's the era where people were taking 14 engines to a race.
Yes.
14 V10 engines to a race. Money was not an object back then. 2 cars, 14 engines, and 1 million fucking tires.
But it was still a great race.
Yeah, it was still a very good race.
Well, another great race. It wasn't entirely similar conditions, but it had its own quirk of its own. And it was Hockenheim, I think it was in 2000.
Yep.
It was Rubens Barrichello's first ever win because he cries on the podium.
Good on him. I do love Rubens.
Schumacher had been taken out, and it was old Hockenheim. The the forest section was bone dry, but the stadium section was just wet as.
Wow.
And so Barrichello stayed out on slicks and maximised his speed on the forest section. And then when it got to the stadium section, he had to tippy-toe around so he didn't do a Sebastian Vettel. Whereas both the McLarens of Hakkinen and Coulthard, they put the wets on, so they lost speed on the forest section, but made up stuff on the stadium section.
That would have just been thrilling to watch.
Oh, it was
That
great.
would have just been like them closing the cat and mouse.
And it only it started off a wet race, then it dried out, and then only half the track got soaking.
Wow.
Also, like, Hockenheim 2019.
Yes. Yes, when
That was
Valtteri crashed out and Lewis went off and all those guys crashed and it just became an epic.
That was just...
That was voted race of the decade.
And Turkey last year.
Turkey last year was great. I mean, we can go back, as I said, Brazil, 2008.
Yeah.
Lewis Hamilton winning the championship for McLaren, final corner, final lap, overtaking Timo Glock. Jenson Button, 2009. He overtook like 9 cars in the wet in that Brawn. He did just enough, I think, to win.
And the next year at Canada, he did the same thing on 4 pit stops in the McLaren.
Yeah, was that when he beat Vettel? 2011.
Yeah.
2011 Canada
2011.
when Vettel spun out on the last lap. It was that drying line.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've had plenty of great races in the rain. Like,
Oh, the Donington.
yeah,
Donington with
Senna and Mansell, was it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Like,
So, you know, and
1996 Monaco.
yeah.
Olivier Panis.
1986, 5, Ayrton in the Tolman,
Yep.
where he almost beat Lauda, but
Yep.
it was a countback. So, like,
Was it Lauda or was it Prost?
I think it was Prost, actually.
It was Prost.
And so, going back full circle here, we've had plenty of good, wet Formula One races over the years.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean the conditions were right to race last night.
No, the conditions last night felt more like I said, Suzuka in 2014
Like
when
a
we lost.
Fuji 1976.
Yeah.
I mean, those guys shouldn't have raced.
Nürburgring
Nürburgring,
1976.
Exactly, where Niki Lauda nearly died.
Yeah. Which is why he pulled out of Fuji
Fuji.
in 76, because it was similar conditions, and James Hunt even said we shouldn't be racing, but Bernie Eccleston came along and said, right, we've delayed it long enough, it's TV time, it's time to go racing, because he had sold the rights to all around the world.
I listened to the F1 Beyond the Grid podcast. Apparently there was a gentleman's agreement that they'd both pull out on lap 2. Lauda did, Hunt didn't. But Lauda was like, fuck, his life's in his hands now.
Yeah.
So, probably smart move. Probably says more to James Hunt's stubbornness than Niki Lauda's smarts. But,
Yeah, I mean, look at what James Hunt went through in that race, though. I mean, he broke his gear shifter.
Broke the gear shifter. He flat-spotted, punctured left tyre. And then had to go from 6th to 3rd in like 7 laps.
Yeah. Even though the movie did get it wrong who he overtook in the end.
Yeah, he actually... Yeah, because it said he overtook Regazzoni in the movie.
Yeah, no, he overtook Alan Jones.
He certainly did. So, yeah, it's not for... I mean, we would have... Had you guaranteed me the race was going to start at 12:30 and it was drying, I would have stayed up and watched it. Like,
Oh, yeah.
money for value, a wet race, fuck yeah. But
Yeah.
we've seen it go wrong as well, a
Yeah.
lot, tragically. So it's always the knife's edge of where do you draw the line, and I'll go back and I'll say it again, Michael Massey got it right.
Yeah, I think so too.
Lewis can bitch that, we drove 2 laps, but you know what? We got a result and we can move on.
What the flip side of the coin of Lewis Hamilton sitting there saying, we should have raced, or whatever he's whinging about is about. What if the Antoine Hubert situation happened again?
What if he was the one that fucking crashed going over Eau Rouge?
Or,
What if he was the one that was injured? Like, if he's lying... Say it started, say we raced, say he's now lying in a hospital bed with a fractured back or something.
here's a better question. What if he had killed George Russell or Max Verstappen?
Or fucking Lando Norris or something.
Yeah.
I mean, I know he was ahead of him, but whatever.
Yeah. What if he was the one who killed someone
Yeah.
after his insistence that the race should go on?
That's it.
It's easy to sit there and point. Hindsight is always 20/20, according to Dave Mustaine.
Yeah.
But looking back, it's still a bit fuzzy. Megadeth lyrics.
I know.
That's Sweating Bullets, by the way, off Countdown to Extinction. But
Trivia night. For your next trivia night, folks.
But yeah, I mean, it's all right to look back and say we should have done this or should have done that or this was a farce or money talks or whatever.
Yeah.
Fact is, the decision was made to do something.
We did, yeah. They did what they could. They can't send them out racing.
No, that's
but
right.
what they can do is send them out enough that, at least there was some satisfaction.
Yeah.
That something was done or resulted. I mean, would it have felt more hollow had Michael Massey just lined them up in the pit lane and said, we're either not awarding points or we're just going to award you in your positions anyway?
Yeah.
I mean, it was only 2 laps behind the safety car, but they at least earned it.
And if they had gone ahead and said, no, calling off the race, no points for anyone, they would have made all the hard work that all the mechanics, the drivers, and everyone had done on the Friday and the Saturday, and even on the Sunday, pointless.
Yep.
Even more than literally.
So we've gathered data all weekend. We've we've raced, we've got the cars set up all weekend, we've repaired cars, whatever. At least this gives it closure.
Yeah.
It's not the closure that anyone wants because, damn, we wanted a wet Spa race. We were frothing.
Yeah.
Wednesday afternoon when you sent that message and it's like, it's going to be wet in Spa this weekend, boys.
Yeah.
We were frothing. We're like, fuck yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was sitting there going, Spa 1998.
Yeah.
All over again.
It's like it's going to be a wet race. We're going to see the best drivers in the world. But race day rolled around and it was dangerous. And it was torrential and it was undrivable.
And then you end up with these wankers online who sit there and say, "Ooh,
I could do better in my Commodore."
yeah, well, good for you, mate. Show us.
Good job, mate. You go
Yeah.
sign your $1 million contract with global powerhouse soft drink company or one of the best car manufacturers on the planet Earth.
Yeah, I'm sure 4X will sign you
Yeah,
up pronto.
sure.
VB
I'm
will
sure-
just snap
sure
you up.
VB will slap a sticker on the bonnet of your fucking HS Commodore and fucking
Yeah.
send you out there.
Turn up at Spa in your Commodore.
Yeah.
Line up against
See what happens.
line up against the Formula One drivers with your Commodore that's white with a VB sticker on the front.
But
and
one door's like oddly coloured because
yeah, it's
you've
like orange or
you've
something.
like ran into a mailbox.
and they've put an 05 sticker on the side.
That's it,
Just
but
to really sit there and say,
they've cut
I'm
the-
just like Brocky.
They've cut the exhaust off so it's like super loud. got the big old spoiler on the back, the unit sticker.
Got their Dunlop tyres on.
Oh, fuck me.
I've got Dunlop tyres on my car. It was either that or Pirelli, and I just went, I'm not putting Pirellis on my car.
Flashback to Silverstone 2013. I'm not putting Pirellis on.
No. Not with Mackay Roads. No, thank you.
Going around the Canelands roundabout just explodes. Just boom. Damn Pirellis.
Bono, I think my tyres are gone.
I just like hyped up how I'm not against how badly their wet tyres are performing, and now I'm just shitting on them again. The fickle world of Formula One, we're never impressed.
All right, so
Let's wrap this up. We've done well, we've done well for a race that only lasted 2 laps. We've given you everything we've got, ladies and gentlemen.
we've just thrown it against the wall.
Yeah, we're throwing pasta at the wall and seeing what sticks.
Well, we had that for tea.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
very, very well done on your wet pasta, mate.
That's my mum.
Yeah, but still,
She's not my mate. She's my mum.
I was complimenting. She's your mate. She's my mate.
Yeah, she's your mate. Right, so we've got the 2021 driver standings, the current driver standings.
How long has it been since you've seen 0.5 of a point? Half a point. It's like 2006.
Was it 2006? I thought it was in the 80s the last time we had half a point.
Oh, man.
That's how Nicky Lauda won the title in 84.
I swear to God, if this championship goes down to half a point... I mean, it can't because Lewis and Max
They're
are
both on half a
on
point.
half a point. But how crazy would that be? Imagine if like, even more so than like Lewis in 2008 or James in 1976 winning it by half a point. I think that's happened before, actually. But
Yeah, that's how Nicky Lauda won the title in 84 by half a point
yeah,
from Prost.
so there you go.
So in first place is Lewis Hamilton on 202.5 points. Max Verstappen on second with 199.5 points. Lando Norris in third on 113. Valtteri Bottas in fourth on 108. Sergio Perez on 104 in fifth. Carlos Sainz in sixth with 83.5. I'm really getting into the 0.5 bit.
Enjoy it. It's history making.
I know. And I think we're all going to be stuck saying 0.5
For
on
the
those
rest of
three
the
guys
year.
for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Charles Leclerc in seventh. Had to do a recount there. Seventh with 82 points. Daniel Ricciardo in eighth on 56. Pierre Gasly on ninth with 54 points. And Esteban Ocon in 10th on 42 points. And as I bump the microphone, because it's not a podcast if I don't bump the microphone at least once, the constructors' standings. Mercedes are on 310.5 points. Red Bull are on 303.5. McLaren are in third place with 169 points. Ferrari are in fourth with 165.5. Alpine are in fifth on 80. AlphaTauri are in sixth with 72. Aston Martin are in seventh with 53. Williams are in eighth with 20.
I think they've officially escaped the bottom doldrums. George Russell's podium and their big points hole, and they're loving the rain. They're just going to want every race to rain.
Alfa Romeo in ninth with 3 points, and Haas.
They're not going to go. They're not going to move from there.
Yeah, they got no points. It's just it's a
fucking
sad state of affairs.
Newton.
So we've got next week. We've got Zandvoort. We're returning to Zandvoort for the first time
The
in
sand pit.
Yeah, first time in like 30 years.
Hopefully it's a sand pit, not a mud pit.
Yeah, well, the Orange Army will be out.
Max Verstappen's home race.
They've even changed all the local speed limits from 30 to 33.
As you do.
And to honour Max Verstappen's current racing number.
That's it.
I'm looking forward to an interesting race, though.
I am too. Like, I've never watched a Zandvoort race.
No, we've raced on it in the game, and it was an interesting race.
It's an interesting track, but I mean, when's the last time they went to Zandvoort? The 80s?
Yeah.
So I've never actually watched a race at Zandvoort. This is new to me.
That's why they've got the internet, mate.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, I've seen races at Imola, I've seen races at Istanbul Park, I've seen races at, these old tracks that they're bringing back, but not at Zandvoort. Zandvoort's new. Zandvoort's completely new to me. Although, I think, from memory, it was in the V8 Supercars 3 game. I'm pretty sure I've raced there in V8 Supercars 3.
Yeah, well, we did it in the current F1 game as well.
Yeah, I know, but that was my first taste of Zandvoort. Stop bursting my bubble.
Because I was doing some amazing overtakes too.
You were. Hopefully it's not raining in Zandvoort and they all crash like what happened in
Because our race
first.
was raining.
Yeah, and everyone spun off at that, crest.
Yeah.
Well, considering Zandvoort doesn't seem to be too far away from Belgium, hopefully that rain's fucked off by the weekend, but we'll see.
And then after Zandvoort is Monza.
Yeah.
So you got the triple
so,
threat.
Unfortunately, Spa was a fizzer, but fingers crossed for Zandvoort. I think Max is going to capitalise in front of his home crowd here.
Yeah, I think so
too. It's a Red Bull style track for a Red Bull. They've set it up for him. In the way that Silverstone's set up for Lewis. I think the decks are cleared for Mr. Verstappen to have a big orange party.
Yeah, I think so too. Anyway, thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed this slightly different episode. It was a bit different from usual because,
the race was
a bit different from usual. But thank you for tuning in. On behalf of, let's try English this time. On behalf of myself and my co-host JB, thank you for tuning in. We will see you next week. Goodbye.